Hello guys, welcome to another session. So in this video we are going to talk about the study plan for the upcoming year. Okay, so whether you are a fresher, you just started your preparation now, you just completed your college, or you might be working somewhere and you just decided that you're going to take 1 year for your preparation, it is going to be helpful for you. You are a repeater or a restarter, still it is going to be helpful for you. So we will be discussing a 12 to 15 month plan with which you will be completing the syllabus holistically, and you will get very well prepared for not only the prelims but mains also simultaneously, and that's exactly the plan should be. Okay, so there is nothing like prelims and then mains and then interview. So we will be looking at a plan which is going to give you holistic coverage of the syllabus. Okay, so the idea of this session is basically, see, we will be discussing a personalized 12 to 15 month timetable, and you see this is what exactly I have discussed. So that's the plan actually. So the initial strategy, let's try to look into this. See, one thing that you need to know is the syllabus is so vast and there is no confusion in that. So first thing that we need to look at is we need to clearly understand the syllabus, right? So you will go through the mains syllabus first, and then you will understand what are the important areas which is there. And then we will look at the prelims also, and we will see the overlapping areas, and that's the basis of our planning. So here, but it is very much crackable. Of course it is vast, but no one is able to complete the syllabus according to, if you go with the exact syllabus which is given, that's very difficult, but it is crackable. But you need to have the right strategy and discipline. So what strategy that we need to follow, that we will be discussing in the next 30 minutes. So this 30 minutes, I can tell you that I'll be giving you with a proper plan with which you can crack the next year exam. Okay, so we'll try to understand clearly what to read and what not to read. This is the most important point. So you have so much of things, even if you take Lakshmikant, right? So much content is there, everything is available, right? So what to read and what not to read, how you selectively read for the topics based on the demand of the question is what actually required. So we will look at that, and then we will look at, you see, as I told you, this is a syllabus. So when you start preparation, what you need to do first is you have to see the syllabus, you have to mug up the syllabus. So the thing is that when you come across certain news or current affairs, you should be in a position to relate it. Yes, this is related to the topic which is there in the syllabus, so there is a high chance that I can expect a question from this in the prelims or the mains. Okay, so this is very important. And the next important is previous year questions. Whether it is prelims or mains, I tell you the questions won't repeat, but the themes will always repeat. There are certain topics which are favorite when it comes to the exam, so they repeat the themes. So we need to go with the previous year questions. These are sacred documents, so this will give you the complete idea what is the expectation of this exam. Okay, so once you have clear understanding of previous year question from 2013 onwards, last 10-12 years, if you analyze thoroughly and if you go with all the themes, if you can pick all the important themes from that, and then it is going to be very easy for you, the preparation will be smooth. Okay, and let's look at the core areas that you need to focus. So when you divide the syllabus, right, for example, GS, let's start with GS1. You have an essay and you have optional. I'll get into that later. So here we will talk about 4 GS papers. So GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, out of which the 4th is essay. So let's keep that aside. In fact, the ones which we are keeping aside is the easy scoring ones in the mains, essay, GS4 ethics, and the optionals, the high scoring ones, where we need a different types of preparation. We are looking at the first 3 GS papers because that's connected to the prelims also. So let's look at the core areas. So if you see GS paper 1, we have 3 divisions: history, geography, and Indian society. Within history, you have Indian history, world history. Within Indian history, you have ancient, medieval, modern. So that is a clarity that you need to have. When it comes to geography, you have the human geography, you have the physical geography, right? That division is there. Indian and world geography is there. And then when it comes to Indian society, that is not directly covered in the prelims, but the first 2, history and geography, is covered in the prelims. So the first, out of this 4 papers, we are looking at first 3 papers. Okay, so here what are more important? The current affairs. For that we will be looking at the newspaper, but you're not going to spend 2 hours for reading newspaper. You look at the main headings, you will look at the important editorials. Rest of the things will do the revision with the magazines, the current affairs, whatever coverage we'll get towards the month end, we'll look at that and then we'll be able to cover that. So that's what I mean by smart work. You don't want to spend too much of time in reading the newspaper. That's not going to give you anything. It's just a waste of time. So maximum 30 to 45 minutes is what you need to spend on the newspaper. Have an idea about all those things happened. Connect it with the syllabus, which is there with you, which you already mugged up, and then look at the important editorials. That is going to give you a lot of perspectives and help you in answer writing also to get that content and the perspective. And then essay, I'll tell you how and when to practice. I have in fact discussed 10 approaches for writing the essay in one of my previous lecture, so that you can go through 10 different approaches in which you can write the essay. And then ethics paper, we'll keep it aside. So optional subject, and then we have CSAT also. Many people will ignore that, but we'll look into this. And then we need to practice answer writing. We need to go for maximum revisions and mock test. So this is what we need to discuss. So these are 7 pillars of UPSC preparation. I repeat, how and why you crack this exam if you mastered all these and if you worked upon this. The first 4 GS papers, the current affairs, your essay. Essay is very much scalable. You see, when it comes to GS papers, you may get 80, 100 on an average, but essay is scalable even to the extent of 170. So that is going to give you a big leverage. In the same way, ethics also very much scalable to 140, 150, 160, that level also. And these are very easy to complete and write and convince also to the examiner, unlike the first 3 GS papers. Okay, and then your optional subject, if you are strong in optional, that is going to add more confidence to you, and that is going to help you in scoring good mark in mains. So CSAT, we cannot ignore CSAT. If you have some good aptitude and then good math skill, then it is okay, but otherwise we cannot ignore. So I'll add the CSAT preparation also in the timetable that we are planning, and this is a core. Answer writing, revisions, repeated revisions, that's very important, and mock test and the previous year questions. I hope you understood what are the 7 pillars. So the idea behind this discussion is I'm going to make things revolve around whatever we discussed here. Okay, so this is one mistake that everyone will do. Prelims, mains, division. I'll first prepare for prelims, then for mains, then for interview. It's not like that. You need to have that holistic preparation. As I told you, history is there in mains and prelims. May not be there world history if you look at, but history, Indian history, where ancient India, medieval India, modern India, all these are there in prelims also. And then if you take geography, it's there in mains and prelims. Indian society may not be there. So that's a peripheral area which you can skip. So if I want to look at certain core areas, history is the core area which I cannot separate from prelims and mains. Geography is another core area which I cannot separate from prelims and mains. And if you take the second paper, the GS paper 2, where you get polity, governance, international relation. Polity, governance is a core area, right? So that you will get questions in prelims also. So polity is important, so you cannot separate this in your prelims and mains preparation. And then international relation, maybe you can add in peripheral area. So international relation, Indian society, these are peripheral areas. If you take GS3, you have economy, very important, comes in the core, prelims and mains it's important. Environment, both prelims and mains it is important. Even science and technology also, prelims and mains it is important. So all these are core areas. And then current affairs, which is again important for prelims and mains. So that's the reason why I told you there is no separation. You cannot delineate or discriminate prelims and mains. These are the core areas. Apart from this, you will get some topics like internal security, disaster management, etc., which again are peripheral. So these may be only for mains, but these are not a big deal. Even 3 days you can cover all these areas actually. Okay, but this is the one which is going to take a lot of time, effort, prelims and mains. So it's a holistic preparation. Never go for any such kind of prelims mains division. So what you need is you need to prepare holistically and not separately for prelims and mains. There is no such concept of separate preparation for prelims and mains, especially in the present context. The way they are asking the questions, the depth of understanding that you need to have, right? Again, you see, this I have already discussed, right? Some topics are very relevant for prelims, mains, interview, ethics case study, essay. For example, if you look at Gaza conflict, I've just taken this. because if you look at it, GASA, from here they can ask you questions in the prelims also related to geography related questions they can form. When it comes to mains, they can ask you questions related to geography, related to world history, related to international relation, related to ethics also, right? The GASA conflict can definitely asked in ethics. That related essay question is possible, and these questions can be asked in interview also. So these are very important. So what we need is, we need a holistic preparation in almost all these topics that we see. So you cannot separate between prelims and mains. Okay, now let's look at the 4 stages that I have divided for the next 13 months. Okay, close to 450 to 500 days. So these are 4 stages. So the first stage, you will go for prelims plus mains foundation. You will build a strength in the core areas like history, geography, polity, economy, ecology, environment, and science and technology, and current affairs. So this is your core. So this is the area that you need to focus on. Along with that, you look at the optional also. I'll come to that. But this is what you will be doing. So you will try to cover 70 to 80% of the syllabus of GS. In fact, during this time, you will look at optional also, because this is a time where you need to cover some part of optional, because from Jan onwards, you won't get into the optional part. Okay, and then current affairs also you'll focus on. So every month what you can do, take one major GS subject. It could be polity or economy. Make yourself very strong in that subject. One major subject, spend more time, and peripheral areas also. So again, one minor subject also you can take. Minor subject means, as I have told you before, it could be international relation or governance. So take one from the core, one from the periphery. That's the plan which you can have. So you then that area will be covered, and then daily you will look at current affairs, right? Every day you are spending 30 to 45 minutes on the newspaper, so you get to know what all things have happened in the previous days, and then you will look at the editorials also, so you have a clear knowledge about the current affairs. And then you will definitely have to build strong foundation in the optional from here to December. So this is again a very important deciding factor. So you will be focusing on the current affairs, and then first 2 months you have to keep on spending time on the previous year questions. You need to understand from the areas that they have asked the question from 2013 onwards, which all areas. I told you, and I tell this again and again, they won't repeat questions, but they repeat the themes. Certain areas, they ask questions again and again many times. So if you look at the previous year questions alone, you get questions in mains, you get the idea from where they're asking the question, you get direct topic for the prelims also. If you look at this, if you are able to cover this, okay? And then you will have to start answer writing from the 3rd month. Why I am telling you to write from the 3rd month is because if you are starting now, you might not get that confidence in writing. So that will, that can negatively affect you also. So once you start building the foundation, once you start reading the current affairs, then you will get some idea. Once you start reading the editorials, you'll get to know how to write, what to write, and you start getting the contents also, and then it's okay. Start writing the answers. That's again very important. So this is what you will be doing in the first stage. So from this June, from here onwards till December. Okay, so every month take one major subject, cover that minor subject, previous year questions of that also you will be covering, and solving the questions. Everything is part of it. Optional also included in that. So this is a time where you build a solid foundation for your 2026 preparation. Okay, now here we will be focusing on prelims. So from Jan onwards, now we will get into the prelims mode, I would say, okay, or prelims phase, I will say. So here you will focus 80% on the prelims. That means you will start looking at CSAT also, and then you will only focus on that core areas, history, geography, polity, economy. Keep revising that, environment, science and technology, current affairs, right? So you will focus on full syllabus completion and your revision. Okay, so this is the time you may go for first and second revision. And the major 7 subjects, as I've told you: history, geography, polity, economy, environment, ecology, science and technology, current affairs. CSAT also, if you feel weak in that area, you have to spend some time. So here is where you will be looking for weekly full-length mock test. So you will be looking at the previous year questions, you will be solving the MCQs in the first phase, but here you will look at the full-length test, so that you will, every week you will be solving the questions, and you will be revising, and you will be very good with the subject. Okay, now comes the third stage. So last phase just before the prelims, like April to May, right? So by this time, your third or fourth revision should have been complete, and then especially in the core subjects, that's what we are looking at, and you will be going for intensive mock test practices, and I'll recommend minimum 50 mock tests you should be taking. So 50, in fact, if you can make it to 100, it is better. So 50 means if you are solving 100 questions multiplied by 50, 5,000 questions is what you're going to solve, and from the 5,000 questions that you're solving, you get the 5,000 solutions, and then you are covering 5,000 topics. And if you can stretch this to 100, then maybe many topics will be overlapping, right? 100 tests means you may be looking at 5 or 6 top institutes you will be taking. You decide that you don't want to join the test series, but still you can get everything from the market, right? So prelims, you don't want anyone to get evaluated. So only for mains you need to join an actual test series. For prelims, that's not required. Only thing is that your commitment to sit similar to exam kind of situation and solve it. That your commitment is enough. You don't want to join a test series as such. If you want to get the ranking and other things, you can do that, but that's of no use, you know. If you yourself can, you know, make a scenario where I sit exactly like an exam situation and I solve these questions, that's the best. You don't want to look for comparison before the prelims. You don't want to get the rank, you know, compared to some people who are writing the exam before the prelims. All these are not going to have any use. It will sometimes you may get an overconfidence, sometimes you lose the confidence also. It is not, you know, recommended anyway, and you don't want to waste money also. Mains, we can use that money if you have extra, okay? So this is a phase, and you will revise all the subjects. You keep revising, you keep solving MCQs, you keep taking the test. So you have to dedicate this phase only for that, only for taking multiple tests, only for revisions. By this time, by March itself, you have already completed your first and second revision. So here, third and fourth revision, solving the questions and revising and taking the mock test, intensive mock test, okay? So exact exam-like scenario, so you'll get that confidence also to walk to the exam hall. I hope you are getting my point. Now comes after prelim stage, June to August. So we studied certain subjects and we kept that subject for later part from Jan onwards, right? Jan onwards we got into the prelims phase. Now we need to take back those subjects which we kept on hold, and we need to start writing answers for that. Out of which key areas, this is the ones which are going to, you know, decide whether you're going to crack this exam when it comes to mains. So you made sure that you're going to clear the prelims. Now this is the ones which is going to decide. Optional, make it yours. Make it yours, okay? And then ethics, essay. And watch the video which I've done how to write effective essays. I've given 10 methods. That's enough. You can practice that, you know, during your June to December phase also. So you'll get to know, you'll get a lot of idea how to approach essays in multiple dimensions, multiple perspectives, 10 different approach, including the normal pastel approach, okay? So here again, you will cover the leftover subject. If it is anything left out, you might have not sure or confident about the ones which you have read, international relation or governance or internal security or disaster management or any such areas, peripheral areas. If you left out world history, Indian society, that is something which you can cover during this period of time, okay? And then this is very important, ultimately most important one. You need to start writing answers, because 10 marker you need to cover in 7 minutes. One more video I have done regarding how to write answers and what are the keywords. Whatever UPSC asked from 2011 onwards, I have taken all the keywords. It's around 15 to 20 keywords I have taken, and I have explained how to answer each of these keywords logically, what should be the structure and how you present your answer. Go through that video also, so that you will understand the idea about answer writing, how you are writing an answer in 7 minutes if it is 10 marker, and 11 to 12 minutes if it is 11 or maybe 10 minutes if it is a 15 marker, and case studies 14 minutes. This is the time that you have. So answer writing without practice, you will not be able to do that. Clear? Okay, of course you need to continue this part, current affairs. The moment you start preparation, till the time you are going for interview, till the time your result is out, you need to read. After that you read or not, that is different thing. Okay, now let's look at monthly planning. So I gave you the foundation 4 stages. Now each month what we can do, that also I have done. So as I have told you, you will be taking 1 month, 1 major subject, 1 minor subject, right? So I will be taking 1 major subject. Let's say I will be taking polity. Which textbook? You already know, your mentors might have told you, you'll be looking at Lakshmikant. And then you'll take one minor subject. It could be Indian society, international relations, governance, disaster management, internal security, whatever you take, you'll take one minor subject. Along with this, you will be looking at your optional, whether it is sociology or public administration or whatever, you'll be looking at this also. And then daily current affairs, you'll be spending 1 hour maximum, because when you start, you may take some time. But ultimately, I want to reduce it to 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, because we will have alternate sources towards the end to cover the current affairs during revision time. Now, the previous year question analysis also, you will be doing an in-depth thorough analysis for the first 2 months, because that is going to be giving you that is the guiding path for you. Once you get to know this is what they are asking, this is the area they are picking, there is a type of questions they are asking, these are the traps that they are setting, then it is going to be very easy for you to answer the question, even with minimum guesswork. Okay, so let's, for me, I just want to give a combination, either polity IR, some way it is connected, geography if you are starting with, along with that you can go with environment ecology, some way it is connected, history, along with that you can go with society. Okay, so this is a better combination. Polity IR or polity governance you can do or economic governance you can do. So these are the combos that I used to take, so that's why I have explained it. Now coming to answer writing strategy. So when you start, your preparation, let's go with 2 months like that. After 2 months, you start getting some content, and then you need to start writing the answers, because that's when you will be getting some kind of understanding, some kind of knowledge with which you can write the answer. Otherwise, you're a beginner, you're coming into this, most of you might be from a different field altogether, you might have worked for some time, you have forgotten everything and you're coming again and you're restarting again, you might have just completed your BTech or MBBS, whatever it is, but it is completely different than what you actually see here, so it takes some time to sink in. So that's why go with 2 months, and then after 2 months start writing the answers and show it to your mentors, your peer group, right, or even to us, and then try to write 2-3 answers a day, spend around 20-30 minutes for writing the answers, right, and get feedback from mentors or your friends. You can send to us also, our team will get it evaluated if you want. So this is what we need, writing, and that will improve, that will help you to retain things. At the same time, you will be able to cover the answer in the limited time, and most importantly, you'll get the confidence to write. If you start writing after the prelims preparation, that's going to be very difficult. Okay, so you will get a lot of contents from this editorial. So a lot of perspective, a lot of themes you'll get over there, and that's something which you can, use to help to improve your answer. So from October to December. So here, what you can do is you can focus on these areas again to some larger extent, because you are already started with a course. You have completed 4 core subjects and then the peripherals. Now this is the area where you can focus. Ethics, very important, because after prelims we'll get limited time to cover. Optional also, we should be giving more importance during this time. You are looking at it from June onwards, but here this is the phase where you will get very serious with this. Okay, and then all the smaller topics you should be covering this during this time, like disaster management, social justice, Indian society, governance, internal security, IR, everything. Okay. Now CSAT. Many, I've seen many people clear GS but not able to crack CSAT. Then what's the point? So once you know that you are weak in maths and weak in numbers and you're not able to clear it, you should have to give that focus to CSAT. It's not that, it's easy, but you can't take it for granted. What if you are not clearing this, then entire work that you have done will be wasted, right? So you can't leave it just like that. So if you feel like you are weak, then spend 2 hours, per week. Weekly you spend 2 hours, start looking at some basic maths concept, right? This LCM, HCF, percentages, ratio, and all these you can just look into, and then look at the logical reasoning areas also. So practice comprehensions, quant and reasoning. See, logical reasoning is something which anyone can solve. Only thing is that you need some kind of practice to get that idea how they're asking and what they're asking. Comprehension, I've seen many people are making mistakes because they actually don't know. Most of the time they'll ask you assumption questions. So this is a trap. Once you know this is a trap, avoid this. Why assumption question is a trap? Because you will get some facts and then you will give some conclusion. Facts lead to conclusion via assumption. And what they're asking? Assumption made by the author. Do you know what is the assumption made by the author? You don't know. So you again assume that this could have been the assumption made by the author. But no one can tell that this is 100%. Now let me tell you, only way in which you will get the answer is this. You, let's say, assume that A is the assumption made by the author. What does that mean? There is a fact, this assumption is made, because of that you got this conclusion. Right? So let's suppose A is the assumption. What you do is, you negate the assumption, you take the opposite of assumption and see what happens with the conclusion. If conclusion stays there, then this is not the assumption. If conclusion also get negated, because why you got that conclusion? Because of this assumption. Now you change this assumption, you take the opposite. See what happens to conclusion. If it remains unchanged, this is not the answer. Then what's the answer? Could be the next three, one of the next three. But conclusion also get negated, that's the answer. This is the only way to solve an assumption question. Because you don't know what is the assumption. You are going to make an assumption. I have seen most of this could be the assumption. How can that be correct? If you need to get an answer, you say, let's say this is the assumption. What should be the case? Facts lead to conclusion because of that assumption. Now I change that assumption. I negate the assumption. What will happen to conclusion? Conclusion have to change. So how I'll test this? I'll change this. I'll see what happens to the given conclusion. Will it change? Yes. Then that's the answer. If it is not changing, this is again wrong. So I need to check with the other one. Similarly, inference questions, general inference, and then specific inference, database questions, summary questions, structure questions. People are not understanding what exactly the demand, what they mean. They randomly write. Especially, this is a bigger trap I have seen. Assumption. You think that this could be the assumption, but that's not necessarily. No one in the world, even the examiner, can tell that this is assumption made by the author. Only way to get that is with this. Imagine if two of them, you get negated and conclusion get negated, then you got stuck. Okay. So my point is practice previous year questions also, understand the questions. Now coming to scoring strategy. Okay, so this is what the point is. GS 1 to 3, you will get on an average 80 to 120, 80 to 110, that is a range normally. So big jump is possible in these areas. I have already discussed in the beginning itself. Essay, it can go up to 160, 170, 180. Ethics, 140, 150, 160 it can go. Optional, both of them combined you can get 290, 300, 320. Okay, so these are the marks which you can get. So you need to get into this areas when you are looking for mains. This is the one which is going to decide whether you are going to go for the interview or you will be there in the final list or not. This is the one which is going to decide. So you need to prioritize accordingly and gain that edge. Try to focus more into this. Okay, I have topped ethics. I was having 154 when I gave that attempt. Optional also I had 303 one time, 2013. Okay, so now coming to the GS 1-3. Okay, this we have already discussed. It's a repetition. Now coming to working professionals and college student, if you are, how much you will get? You will get hardly 5 to 6 hours a day. Others you may get 10 to 12 hours a day. So when you get this, you can prioritize like this. 3 hours you will be spending for GS, build the core strong, okay, and then 30 to 45 minutes you look at current affairs, right? So 2 hours you'll be focusing on optional. As I told you, weekly 2 hours for CSAT, and then weekend you'll be going for mock test and answer writing. Now other tips which I can tell you is you can track the monthly progress with on-wall planner, or there are apps which are available. So that is up to you, or with mentors. Okay, and then so you'll take 21 days to form that habit and 90 days to build a lifestyle with that habit. Whether you are looking for transformation of your body, if you want to start workout, and if you want to eat healthy, if you want to change your diet, technically take 21 days. Okay, once you get that 21 days done, then it is smooth, it is easy, you will follow that, and it become a lifestyle. If you can do the same for 90 days, it will become part of you. Then it is very difficult to change. So that's the idea. So again, you need to focus on return on investment. What I mean by that, the time and effort that you are spending on world history and the effort that you are spending on ethics could be almost similar, but world history hardly will get 1 or 2 questions, ethics you will get 140 marks. So even if you have to face a situation that I won't be able to take or cover world history, completely ignore and focus on ethics. That kind of calculated move is also required. But anyway, you have time and we have already planned. But in case working professionals, if you get stuck with time and such issues are there, even if I need to skip certain areas, I'll capitalize on these areas. But ultimately, who will get the benefit? Who have time and who covered everything. Okay, so there is nothing like we can skip, but I'm telling you, emphasis should be on these areas. So again guys, don't procrastinate. Start now, start today, start immediately. Don't waste your time. You're watching this video and start now. Don't waste your time. And always try to stay consistent. As I've told you, it takes 21 days for you to bring in this change. But once you did that, next month you'll automatically follow. Again you follow. You understood that you can follow. Now do that for 90 days. Then you will make complete transformation. You will be in the track and it's very difficult for you to change from that. Right? So let me tell you, by the time you walk out of prelims hall, you should be knowing that I'm going to crack it. Then only you'll be confidently preparing for mains. So see, I've seen many people who clear the prelims, but they're not confident after the prelims. Then that mind will be disturbed. You will not be able to prepare for that couple of weeks, and that is going to make a big impact, big difference. So by the time you comes out of the prelims, you should make sure that you're gonna clear this. Okay. So post prelims, again, we don't wait for the result. So what situation I can start preparation without waiting for result? Only if I'm sure about this. Then only you're going to crack it. Okay. So immediately after the prelims, you'll be starting your preparation. So that's all what I want to discuss, guys. I hope I have given a valid timetable for you. So how you're going to do for from here onwards to December, June to December, and December to March, and then April to May, and then June to August. Till your mains, whatever you need to do, we have covered. So just follow it now, start today and be consistent. That's it guys, thank you so much. If you are looking for any mentorship program or any test series or courses, get in touch with us. So see you in the next session.